You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast. Here are Brad, Lisa, Brian, and Darren.
Welcome to another edition of the It Modcast podcast. Joining us is Brian Young, the Turtle Dork.
Happy Friday, folks.
Yeah, and also joining us is Lisa Gullickson, Wife Dork, a.k.a. Bake Dork.
Yeah. Hello.
And Brad Gullickson, Mouth Dork. Yep, what he said. I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork. And welcome to the It Mod... It Modcast podcast. Fistful Friday. TGIFF MFers.
I've been gone for a week.
Yeah.
And I forgot where the fwams go. I thought the fwams went with Brad.
They go everywhere.
Oh, okay. Fwam.
Yeah. Happy Friday, everyone.
Yeah.
Fwam.
So glad you've been.
How long can I keep doing this?
Did you miss us?
About that long.
Yes, I did. And you know what? Your last fistful of poor choices was great.
You liked it?
I loved that episode.
You're not just saying that because you're one of the four founding dorks.
No. I was listening to it coming home from Friday the 13th, the final chapter at the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect length. And for my car ride from the Alamo to the Dork Cave, perfect length. And you know what? I was there in spirit, thanks to Darren picking my choices for him. Or he picking my choice. I don't know how that works actually grammatically or whatever. But I was okay with those choices except for, as I said on the last Week in Dork, I would never have chosen Deacon Frost because the first blade sucks.
Oh, wow.
Darren, I hate to interrupt,
Uh-oh.
but
Yes.
could you go back and edit in a "That's what she said"
To what part?
right after the perfect length?
Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to that point in the movie season where we're on the precipice of the summer blockbuster season.
Dude, where did this year go?
I don't know, but I needed to go faster so we could hurry up and get to Infinity War, then put the brakes on it.
You know what? We didn't do a fistful of the year so far either.
Did we not?
No, we haven't.
We could do that next week.
No, I like our other fistful idea better.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe the week after.
How about just at the end of this episode, we say what our favorite movie of the
No,
year so far is?
because I'm not ready. I haven't been keeping up with
Lisa,
my letterbox.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what your favorite movie of the year is.
Okay.
Black Panther,
Oh, yeah.
Not Double O Soul?
I did love Double O Soul, but that didn't come out this year.
1990.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, in the meantime, we have a bunch of films that we're looking forward to coming up in the summer months, as always. And
Can we talk about, before we get into our list, how this summer looks so far film-wise? Because I was not...
the general consensus?
Yeah, I was not soups excited putting this list together. I'm excited about what I'm excited about, but combing through all of the movies coming out, I was not too stoked.
I think I agree with you. I would say that my number one would be one of my most excited films of the entire year.
Yeah.
And my number two would certainly be one of my most anticipated films of the year, given whatever the year would be. But then 3, 4, and 5, I'm looking forward to them.
I would say there are a lot less big blockbuster summer tentpole movies that I'm excited to see. Quite a few of the movies on my list are wouldn't necessarily be considered summer blockbuster films. So yeah, I'm in agreement.
I would just go, 2017 for my money was an amazing year in cinema.
Yeah, that's true.
From the start. And these first 4 months of 2018, I've seen some good stuff, but I'm hoping I haven't seen anything that's going to, Black Panther's going to be in my top 10.
Oh, yeah.
All right. But besides Black Panther, I'm hoping I get another 9 movies this year that will round out my top 10, because there hasn't been a lot that's just whoa.
Yeah. And hopefully it's one of those cases where maybe this summer is not where we will find those picks necessarily.
Well, it means then the fall's going to have to really pay off.
But sometimes that's happened though. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, definitely.
So hopefully we'll have a case like that. And hopefully all the movies that are on our Fistful this episode will be movies that we are talking about still at the end of the year.
This is why you need me on the Fistful episodes, because I stretch it out. All right. You guys, just the three of you, it was like 30 minutes and done. No, not this time. We're going to do 10 minutes before we even get to Brian's number 5.
Well, when it comes to mouth orc, there's always length involved. So
yeah.
Let's do it. Brian, your number 5 and your fistful of summer anticipation.
Yeah, so starting with the summer, this is always a great time of year because after we get out from Oscar season, we can kind of get into some of the mindless action, mindless popcorn cinema that we like to get into. But even with that being said, I think we have a lot of cinema that's really going to be kind of pushing the boundaries on some artistic levels, independent-wise, and I think big budget. One of the ones I'm kind of looking forward to is an independent film. We talked about it before. It's probably on your list too, Darren. But for me, it's number 5. It's Sorry to Bother You.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this film, the trailer really caught my attention, and it got a lot of good critical response coming out of what's that? Sundance.
Yeah, Sundance.
We got a lot of good response coming out of Sundance, and the cast for this movie just is amazing. I mean, you're talking about just going down the IMDb list: Tessa Thompson, Armie Hammer, Lakeith Stanfield, whose star is rising and it just keeps rising. Patton Oswalt, David Cross, Terry Crews, Stephen Yeun from The Walking Dead. I'm so happy to see him getting work after The Walking Dead.
Have you watched Mayhem?
No, not yet.
Check that out.
Yeah, I've been hearing some good things. Danny Glover, Omari Hardwick. So it's got a really, really good cast with some really versatile actors. And watching that trailer, because I said this in my trailer reaction on YouTube, is that it kind of has this really kind of Michel Gondry type of feel to it. And the director, his name is Boots Riley, and which really gets me excited because I'm always looking for fresh voices and fresh talent.
He's an actor too. Boots Riley, he's a comedian, right?
Well, looking on his IMDb, he does a lot of musical stuff. So I think he's produced a lot of music, and this is his first feature as far as directing. He has acted. He's been in The Simpsons, American is Still the Place, The North Pole, and Rope-a-Dope 2. No, he hasn't acted in much.
Okay, well,
so it looks like he's kind of new on the scene. And if from everything I'm hearing, if this movie hits the way that it did at Sundance, this could really put him on the map. So that gets me excited just to see new talent, especially new talent of people of color getting opportunities like this that could really kind of propel their careers. So this movie is definitely on my radar. I'm looking forward to Sorry to Bother You.
Yes.
Boots Riley, that's the dude from The Coop. The Coop. They were big like in the 90s.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at his IMDb, but I don't see anything.
Yeah, he was from. You said he does music, right?
Yeah, he's done like some soundtracks. He's worked on like a couple. He's worked on the.
Yeah, you're right, Darren. Yeah,
cool.
Is okay.
Cool in LA. That's where I stay. Sorry. Okay, Lisa, your number 5.
My number 5 may be a little bit unexpected for a person who literally just slept through Rampage. But I saw this trailer before the film, and I'm smitten. I really, really, really want to see The Meg.
Oh yeah,
with the gigantic fuck off shark.
Yes.
Jason Statham. Let's just start there. Amazing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the charm of The Rock, but he's got a cool accent.
Yeah.
He's very compact.
He can kick ass.
Yeah, and it's he's going to be hydrodynamic because of his
lack of hair.
lack of hair. I like seeing Rainn Wilson playing the kind of snarky other guy. I think that's exciting. And I love Ruby Rose. I think she's so hot.
Oh yeah.
It's weird seeing the trailer for this film finally because it's been in development for a long time. And I read the book when it came out, like in 2002 or something like that, a long time ago. Steve Alton, and Guillermo del Toro had the rights to direct this at one point. And
that would have been amazing.
That would have been brutal.
Well, and it certainly would be different than what we're getting in this trailer.
Tonally.
Yeah.
to me, I like the fact that they're playing the kind of Jaws angle, and let's not look too much at the shark. Though we saw a ton of the shark in the trailer. Now that I'm talking,
of the shark.
But I don't know. I think it looks fun, and it's a really ugly looking shark. John Turteltaub is the director.
Oh boy, National Treasure show?
1 and 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
And The Sorcerer's Apprentice, right?
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
they?
And
That's his best
Phenomenon.
film.
I dug that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just looks like, if you're gonna have a summer, you got to do it at the beach.
I mean, I love the posters that we've been seeing
with the little tiny boats all around, looking like little goldfish next to this monster.
That image is all the imagery they've been using to sell this film, and I talked about it like way before, like last year when I talked about how I was looking forward to it. How the first image was the crest of that wave that the surfer was on, and the shadow, the silhouette of the Meg was in that wave, and how unsettling that was. Yeah, I love
waves
all of the
are
imagery.
Fucking scary. The
waves with freaking giant dinosaur sharks are scary, even scarier.
The Adrift trailer, that's not going to be on my list because it looks super vomity. I'm not going to watch people on a boat. But oh my gosh, every time that gigantic wave comes, I get the goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like my skin is like danger. It's fucking scary. Waves are scary, but I like the idea of the trailer opens like an underwater sea lab. I want a sea lab.
Yeah.
So that's why.
It's basically like the opening of like Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
So that's why it's my number 5. I'm excited. It looks cool. I love Jason Statham.
Great pick. All right, B, your number 5.
So we talked about on the last week in Dork, Darren and I saw Truth or Dare. I'm a fan of gimmicky horror when done right. I love It Follows. And this film, I think it also premiered at Sundance, or maybe it was South by Southwest. But the word on this film is it's truly terrifying. And the trailer.
The trailer is so scary. I know what you're
Hereditary is... Yeah.
Which, for the sake of brevity, is also my number 5.
Oh, hey, excellent.
Yeah, it premiered at South by.
And the nice thing about the trailer also is there's not much of plot information in that trailer.
Yeah.
If you go on IMDb, they'll say, I'll just read you IMDb. When Ellen, the matriarch of the Graham family, passes away, her daughter's family begins to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry. And then, you see that kid from Jumanji smashing his face into the desk. But the way that trailer's edited and the images that the director, Ari Aster, has captured look iconic already. And I'm excited to be in a packed house with an audience ready to experience true horror, or maybe not ready.
I will never be ready. I'm not watching that movie. It was too
I don't
scary.
think I'm gonna watch it either.
Me and Brian are going to go see The Meg, and you can have your...
I'm seeing The Meg too. It's just, like watching A Quiet Place recently, speaking of gimmicky horror, that film used jump scares in a really unique fashion that everyone always complains about jump scares, but I thought like Krasinski showed how a jump scare could be effective. But this film looks like it is living in that space of The Babadook or The Witch, where it's about dread and
atmosphere.
And atmosphere,
This trailer, it through its use of the editing and the sound design, it also in the trailer with those strings and just the images that they're editing together, for me already instill that sense of dread. And I don't know, I'm very curious because, like you said, we both just saw Truth or Dare, and we are fans of the Babadook and The Witch and those new horror films, Starry Eyes.
I feel like we're since that Babadook year, or I guess the year before with Starry Eyes and Housebound. There's a horror renaissance happening,
and I don't think that it's any type of fluke or coincidence that it's from a lot of those films are like A24 films. Like that studio is putting out
and Blumhouse
and Blumhouse
has been put out. Get Out,
but I think a film like this for me is a balance to the type of horror that we get with like Truth or Dare. And I'm Happy Death Day. I'd be the first person to tell you that I was entertained by that film and I enjoy those types of horror.
We didn't talk about Happy Death Day during Truth or Dare, but Happy Death Day is how you do Truth or Dare right.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I would say this type of horror I like because it's also like A Quiet Place. It's touching on things that we're familiar with, family and family history, and and some people may not be familiar with their own family history, but it's something that one could easily have, you could easily become acquainted with. It's a familiar type of thing that you can that's tangible. And
and skeletons. Everyone's got skeletons in the closet,
right? And Toni Collette, like she's such a great actress.
Gabriel Byrne also is in this
Gabriel
film.
Byrne, but I see her even with the glimpses of her performance in the character. I can already tell that this is going to be like one of those strong performances that we reference like years from now. We talk about. So yeah, I'm for every reason that you're excited to see Hereditary is the same reasons that I have it as my number 5 as well. That trailer, it was really, people reacted to that trailer more positively to the Truth or Dare, the actual film. Like people were freaked out by this trailer, and I think that's
I think that would have been the case for my audience too if it had been more than just me for Truth or Dare.
Damn. Okay. Brian, your number 4.
So my number 4 is a movie that has kind of risen the closer we get to the to the premiere of this film. It's Solo, a Star Wars story. I know a lot of people are kind of reticent about this film. They, because of the onset.
I raised my hand.
A lot of the onset drama dealing with Lord and Miller and Ron Howard coming in and having to reshoot probably more than half the movie and everything that we've been hearing. But I got to tell you, that last trailer that we got, man, it got me super excited about this film. I loved that last trailer. I mean, when people talk about you want a space western, this feels like it's going to be exactly that.
So
it's going to be a space western.
I was so not interested in Solo. And then the trailer before this one, I guess the first trailer came out, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then there was like an updated Super Bowl trailer, right?
Yeah.
Like they both came out.
They had the spot for the Super Bowl and then the actual trailer.
So I liked the Super Bowl one, and
Yeah.
then the actual trailer I was lukewarm on.
Yeah.
This one won me over. And I saw Ron Howard in this trailer. You're talking about
old school Ron Howard.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw the framing of Ron Howard.
Okay.
You mentioned westerns. You see westerns in this film. You see crime movies in this film, or noir.
Exactly.
In this
There's an underworld to this where you really get to see, and I just love the fact that we're actually. I mean, you look at these offshoot films from Star Wars, like the Star Wars stories. We got Rogue One, which was really kind of tied into the regular saga films.
It was boring
dealing with the Death Star. But I was telling Darren this. I like the idea that we're actually taking one of our legacy characters from the saga, and we're seeing some of his earlier adventures. And to me, a lot of people are like, well, we don't really need a Solo film. And I would agree when they originally announced it. But the fact that I was like, I'm a little bit more willing to check this out and see some of these early adventures of a Han Solo.
I certainly don't want a Han Solo story because I feel like the origin story of Han Solo was A New Hope. That is the origin of Han Solo. But make a kick-ass movie, and I'll change my tune.
Exactly. And I mean, speaking to the cast and so many other points in this is like Lando Calrissian, we got Donald Glover. Who's
I'm on the hunt for that action figure, guys. It's hard to find.
And I said this in my trailer reaction. I mean, you take somebody like Billy D. Williams, who was the epitome of cool at that point. You basically taking Donald Glover.
He still is, Brian. Just FYI.
Yeah. I know. Double
Colt
Soul.
45.
Reference, My weekend dork.
So it's just like now you take in this generation who can be considered as the epitome of cool Donald Glover, and you stick him into playing that same character. It just seems like a natural fit, and I'm excited to see what he does with the Lando character. The trailer really seems like it's going to be a Chewie centric film. I'm excited to see more about Chewbacca and his story.
I think this film does this film make Star Wars Holiday Special canon? Is that Mala?
That's what
Is that
everybody
his
said.
wife? Where's Lumpy?
Exactly. I mean, it looks like it's a lot of fun. And Bradford Young's cinematography, you could definitely see that on display in this trailer as well. The way he uses light and dark images, the contrast.
Even the CG stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
CG stuff looks great. And the scope of it, some of those shots, just the scope of it. I'm super excited about this film. So it's...
The Indie Dork wrote an article on Film School Rejects this week about Yanis Kaminski having some hesitation about digital cinematography.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm kind of... I have that residence as well.
Yeah.
But then I see the Solo trailer... And you see these shots of the Star Destroyer, and you see the shots of Corellia. That's the Han Solo's planet, right?
Oh,
Corellia.
okay.
And you see those shots, and you go, Bradford Young had something to do with this. Like, Bradford Young is all over the CG of Solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I was afraid that some of that would get lost in like one of these CG heavy movies, but you could see it all, like you said, in this, at least in this trailer, you could see like it all over this film, which excites me about the look of the film and just everything about it. I'm so on board for this film.
All right, wife dork, your number 4.
My number 4 is Mary Shelley.
Oh,
I'm pretty excited about this film. I find the historical character of Mary Shelley very intriguing. The fact that she wrote the story of Frankenstein more or less kind of on a dare, like up against, you know, it was one of those things where like, okay, we're going to write a scary story contest and whoever writes the best story wins. And she turned out Frankenstein. And Frankenstein has all of these themes that relate to her extreme feminism and wanting to be recognized for not having ladylike thoughts, of having, you know, being a dark person.
is there a trailer for this movie?
Yes,
It just
there
dropped
is.
this week.
It just dropped. It seems to be centered around her relationship with Percy Shelley, who he was kind of he was a poet and an early proponent of like free love, in that he wanted to have sex with all kind of ladies. I guess every man is in that way a proponent of free love, but you know, so their relationship was very strained, and it's just a fascinating story. And then on top of that, the director of this movie is Haifa Al-Mansour, who was the director of Wajah, which was Saudi Arabia's first official submission to the Oscars for Best Foreign Language Film in 2014. And this was Saudi Arabia's first feature-length film, was the film that she created. And the fact that she was able to create a feature-length film with all of the restrictions that Saudi Arabia has on women, like she was very restricted in the way that she could interact with male actors and things like that. And so that's a tremendous feat. And then this is her first American feature film. So very cool.
It stars Elle Fanning as Mary Shelley?
Yes. Elle Fanning. Is there anybody else cool in this? Nope. But mostly, here, you look at this list. Nobody, a bunch of pretty boys.
Oh, well, Belle Powley, she's in Wildling, which just came out on VOD, the werewolf, well, the not werewolf movie.
Oh, she's the Diary of a Teenage Girl chick.
Right, she's also that.
Huh.
Yeah, that was a movie I saw.
Yeah, I think she's pretty cool.
She is a cool actress, and Diary of a Teenage Girl was a cool movie.
And
just an uncomfortable
Al
movie for me.
Mansour just finished production on a Netflix show with Sanaa Lathan.
Oh.
Which I can't remember the title of right now. Nappily Ever After. She just was directing those episodes, and she has a new animated show from the producers of BoJack Horseman coming out called Miss Camel, which sounds
This
interesting.
lady's just amazing. So it's an amazing woman making a movie about an amazing woman.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
What do you know what month that's coming out in?
May.
May. Okay. Oh yeah. So I don't have that long to wait.
May.
All right.
Velocity.
Yeah, that's on my radar. I'm a huge fan of Elle Fanning, and it sounds like I should be a huge fan of this the filmmaker as well. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Yeah. All right, B, your number 4.
My number 4 is a film that I was not aware of until like a week ago when the trailer dropped. And now I've watched the trailer like 6 times. I love this trailer so much. It's the Lee Whannell film Upgrade.
Oh my God, the trailer looks amazing.
And like, you know, it stars everybody's, well, not everybody's, the poor man's Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Logan Marshall Green. Yeah. That's not my term. That's the internet's term. And we've been fans of him actually ever since we saw The Invitation. Yeah. He pops up in Spider-Man Homecoming as the Shocker Part 1. I'm the Shocker. I'm the Shocker. And yeah, so it's set in that beautiful, not too distant future where RoboCop operates and those kinds of films. And, you know, it's a death wish scenario where his wife is murdered. And I guess in the process of his wife being murdered, he's injured and becomes a paraplegic. But there's a scientist and he's got a new gadget, a new chip that they put into his spine called STEM, and it gives him an AI living inside his body, and then that AI can take over his biological system, his nervous system, and become a ninja.
Yeah.
And kick a whole bunch of ass. And I think the trailer is really phenomenal.
Did you see the red band one or the
green? Oh hell yeah! I've seen all the bands, Darren.
I kind of wish now that I had never seen that trailer and I went into that movie blind, because that's how I went into the trailer.
Yeah,
because I didn't know what it was going to be. I had seen a couple of posts on social media, but it was only like a screen, a thumbnail of it, so I never clicked on it, and then I ended up clicking on it, and I don't know if it was like the trailer that played after a YouTube trailer, so we just rolled into the next one, and I ended up watching it, and I was floored. And so a part of me wishes that I would have that experience.
Yeah. It would have been a great Fantastic Fest movie, right?
Oh my gosh.
Just wandered into it.
Oh my gosh.
But I've been a fan of Lee Whannell since Saw. He performs in that movie too. I don't particularly like his acting, but I dig his screenplays. You know, he wrote the first Saw film. He wrote Insidious.
He's in those films as well.
Yeah, he's in those. And I like his performances in Insidious.
Same.
He also wrote Cooties, and he wrote The Mule. I like both of those films. Yeah. But this is only his second directorial feature. His previous one was Insidious Chapter 3, and I don't think I actually saw.
Oh, he directed that one?
Yeah, he did.
Huh. That's the one when it goes to the old lady and her origins in that old house. That's my
like a pre. Oh yeah, you watched it, so I didn't have to.
It was my favorite of.
Oh really? Yeah. Okay, because I don't particularly like the first Insidious. I guess I'll have to go back and listen to that review cast of that episode. But yeah, Upgrade. It looks kick ass. I love Logan Marshall Green, and this seems like a perfect fit for him.
Yeah. All right. Good pick. My number 3 is
4.
Oh, my number 4 is Deadpool 2. I'm looking
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. I'm one of the few people who in the Dork Cave who actually really dug the first Deadpool film, and I like.
Brian, you liked it, didn't you?
I really like that movie.
Oh, did you? Oh, Brad just does.
It's just your side of the story.
Oh, this side, this corner.
Lisa, do you like Deadpool? No.
I'm shaking my head no on the podcast. No.
Okay, it's us versus them. I enjoyed the film. That character is one of those characters that was written for the actor who ended up ultimately, who I think was destined to play that part. And I just find that for Ryan Reynolds' brand of humor and snark and sarcasm, that he excels in that role. I found that to be the most entertaining thing about that film. And I'm not saying that there weren't other things about the film that I didn't find entertaining, but he really shines in that role, which was the main reason why I was excited to see a sequel film. But then they cast Josh Brolin as Cable. Firstly, introducing that character is exciting for me. But then when they cast Zazie Beetz as Domino, that just solidified my excitement for the film, because she's great in Atlanta. She's also, speaking of Donald Glover, she's in that series, which season 2 just started on FX, and it is great. It is better than the first season. So if you're not watching that show, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Donald Glover, to see a different side of him, both his performance-wise, but also creatively, because that show is not like what I think you think it is. It's a good glimpse into his multi-layered, multifaceted geek mind, and so it's a really good show. But she's great in it, and so and then my man from Hunt for the
Julian Dennison,
Ricky Baker is in it, which I'm excited to see him in another feature. And we had the director of Atomic Blonde, and he also worked on the John Wick films, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what he's able to do outside of his own familiar property.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious about that.
So that's my number 4. Brian, what's your number 3?
So my number 3, I'm sure this is going to pop up a little bit later in the cast, Brad, is Mission Impossible Fallout.
Bang, bang, boom, bang, bang.
I'm super excited for this film. Like you said, you guys talked about the trailer before we started recording, and that trailer is just absolutely
amazing,
fantastic.
That one and A Quiet Places trailer are like 2 favorite trailers of the recent memory.
Yeah,
I never watched A Quiet Place trailer.
Really? Oh, that's right.
You should watch it now.
Yeah.
It's a great trailer.
Just the first one, it's like it's like the movie, but without giving away the secrets. It's awesome.
So with Mission Impossible, I love how it feels like, because of the cast that's in this film from the previous film, this feels like a direct sequel to Rogue Nation. I mean, you have the villain, who is Sean Harris. He's coming back, and then you also have Rebecca Ferguson as Ilsa Faust coming back. And even when you watch that trailer, Angela Bassett is also referring, I think, to the mission that happened in that previous film. So unlike some of the other films, and we also have Christopher McQuarrie coming back, so it definitely feels like that this is going to be like I don't want to necessarily call it a 2-parter, but it feels like it's going to be like a cohesively one complete kind of overarching story, which is exciting to me within the Mission Impossible franchise, because each installment has felt separate because of the different directors and the different cast of characters for each IMF team. Henry Cavill, who's not back, but who's in this film, a lot of people gave him shit about the mustache after watching this trailer, and hopefully after watching this movie, people will forgive Paramount for not having him shave the mustache, because he looks badass in this film.
Warner Brothers should have kept it.
Yeah, I know, Superman with a mustache.
Who cares? He's resurrected with a mustache.
Yeah. So I'm super excited, and like I said, just seeing Tom Hanks is just a madman.
Tom Hanks.
He is a madman.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is pretty crazy too.
I can't wait till Tom Hanks joins the IMF team.
Is he the dude from the Angels and Demons franchise? The Da Vinci Code
Crossover?
No.
Shared universe?
No.
Oh, okay.
Have you watched those movies, Darren?
No.
They are garbage.
No.
Tom Cruise. One of my favorite parts of the trailer is the ending when you're seeing him just do all these different stunts and concessions just back to back to back. And I'm just like, oh my God, this dude, he literally will do anything to please his audience.
Destined to die on a Mission Impossible movie.
And you know what? I love him for it. I love him for it. And it just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to Fallout.
I think that they should do a movie with all of the Hollywood Toms: Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Tom Holland,
Tom Sizemore,
Tom Hardy.
Tom Sizemore.
Damn, Lisa just gave the coldest fucking. Who the fuck is that guy?
Star of The Relic, Lisa.
I'm sorry, what?
She's like, who? Is that your neighbor?
Accurate.
No, he's in movies.
Accurate.
Damn. All right. I love it. Lisa, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Incredibles 2.
Yay, that's
the
right.
best, a sequel to the best existing Fantastic Four movie.
Facts.
Now the baby's got powers.
Yay, check.
I generally find babies gross, but this baby looks not gross. I don't have anything else to say about it. I really loved the first one. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to revisiting this first one. I like this playing with the trope of, oh, it turns out that it's the female superhero that is the valuable one on the team.
And we have a stay-at-home dad.
And have a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's a really cool and unexpected twist in him having to deal with being second fiddle, or as Dave Chappelle would say, oh no, Chris Rock. Chris Rock would say he's got to play tambourine for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
You know, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brad.
Well, I was just going to say that I love the first Incredibles, and I've enjoyed the trailers for Incredibles 2, but I don't have the drive, like the enthusiasm for it for some reason.
Because I think that they're too baby centric. I'm hoping that the movie isn't really entirely about the baby, that the baby is more just like a side gag, like the smoking baby and Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Robert.
It looks like that Elastigirl's going to be the main plot.
Yeah,
with
I think that's
the
cool.
Bob Odenkirk corporate dude trying to bring superheroes back to the mainstream, but maybe Bob Odenkirk's also the screensaver or the screen slayer, whatever his name is. I don't know. Like, I'm sure I'm going to like it. And heck, it might end up being in my top 10 films of the year.
Yeah.
And it has a real good shot because The Incredibles, what year did that come out? 04. Is that also when Kill Bill Volume 2 came out?
Yes.
Is that also when Shaun of the Dead came out?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So Shaun of the Dead was my favorite. Kill Bill Volume 2 was my second favorite. And then Incredibles 3.
Damn.
Incredibles was my third favorite of
Really?
that year.
Wow,
yeah.
nice.
I mean, I loved that movie.
Me too. I love it.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not excited.
Same. I don't know if it's because it's been so long since the first one.
Probably.
Because like when the first Incredibles ends, I'm at excitement level for the sequel. When that
I
movie
am
goes,
the
oh, shit,
Underminer.
like that's the greatest ending. I can't wait for the sequel. But like now, I don't know, and maybe it's because it's been a while since I've revisited that film. But it's kind of been a out of sight, out of mind type of thing for me. But I'm going to go see it, and
I think that it's going to be a really pleasant comeback. I mean,
yeah.
I've missed these characters.
Yeah.
And the actors in this film, Holly Hunter as Elastigirl, I love it.
And Pixar, they do well with stories. And that the comment that I was going to make earlier, where you said the unexpected surprise of having it be about her and then him being a stay-home dad, that is an unexpected twist for the sequel. But at the same time, for me, that feels like Pixar addressing that type of thing in a potentially kids movie, a quote unquote kids film. So I'm looking forward to seeing that take on this family and the family dynamics to see how that plays out. But like Brad said, like it's not like Fistful worthy for me because I haven't really been thinking about it. But I don't know. And the new trailer just came out, right? Mm-hmm. Do they show the bad guy? Who's the bad guy in there?
I haven't watched the new trailer.
They have a glimpse of him at the end.
Okay. All right. Unlike Lisa, I haven't seen the new one yet, but I'm gonna check it out. I'll be there in the theaters when it comes out.
Yay.
All right. B, your number 3. That rhymes.
So with not being able to pick Avengers Infinity War because it comes out in April, not summer, Brian.
Okay.
I've got to get my Marvel love in on this list.
Yeah.
So Ant-Man and the Wasp is my third favorite film, or my third most anticipated film of the summer.
Yeah.
I like the new trailer. I don't love it. Like, I laugh to it. I go, okay, I like some of the new uses of the miniaturization technology. Yeah. But similar to the first Ant-Man, that first Ant-Man trailer, I was like, eh. But what I'm excited about is the stuff we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne. We're going to go into the quantum realm and pull her out. I can't wait to see the quantum realm again. Yeah. I'm really, really excited about that. We haven't seen anything of Lawrence Fishburne's Bill Foster. No. And, Bill Foster in the Marvel Universe, he's Goliath. Mm-hmm. He's another giant man character. Yeah. We haven't seen anything of Randall Park's Jimmy Woo, the agent of Atlas.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything of Walton Goggins' Sonny Birch.
Walton Goggins is in that movie?
He is. I mean, he's playing a minor character. Like Sonny Birch is he's like Darren Cross. He's part of Cross Technologies. Yeah. Like in the comics, he's affiliated with the villain from Iron Man 1. No. Obadiah Stane. And so, there is a lot of Marvel geeky stuff happening if you just look at the IMDb cast.
Yeah.
but we haven't really gotten that yet from the trailer. We get like a brief glimpse of the villain, Ghost.
Yeah, played by Hannah John Kamen.
Right.
Yeah, which I'm excited about because she was recently in Ready Player One.
Right,
so, and she was pretty badass in that.
Oh,
so
that was like the agent with the pistol?
Yeah, the bad agent. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
Is Michael Pena in the trailer?
He's not in the trailer, but he's in the film. Judy Greer's back. The whole gang is back from the first movie. And yeah, so that's a fun world to live in.
And the big thing is this is the film we're getting coming off of
Infinity War.
Yeah,
so, and like how does it tie in, or does it not tie in? Is it really just a sequel to Civil War and a prequel to Infinity War? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, Marvel! Yay! All right. My number 3 is Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
For everything that Brian said, but also
I think I'm just as good as Darren.
I love Rogue Nation. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Mission Impossible film. But like everything Brian was saying, like the reason why I'm excited about this film isn't so much because it's another installment in this franchise, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but also it's because of the connective tissues that Christopher McQuarrie brings with his return. Like Brian mentioned, he's the first director to come back to do a sequel to this franchise, but also he is bringing back characters that also were in previous films, and it's addressing things that happened in the most recent film too. So you have these elements that are touching the rest of the franchise on different levels, and so that's something I appreciate. And I think Christopher McQuarrie's second time around gives him an even more assured and steady handle on these characters in the franchise. But you wouldn't. I mean, that's not to say that wasn't the case with his previous take on these characters, because like again, Rogue Nation is freaking amazing. So having said that, really the selling point for me was seeing the trailer. It's we, like Brian mentioned, we were talking about it before we started recording. I mentioned it earlier, and it's just a great trailer. It the musical cues, the story beats, the editing. And again, how Tom Cruise has slowly became like Jackie Chan and just risking his life for these movies. Like,
so weird.
He is seriously on that level. I'm so surprised that the end credits of the Mission Impossible films don't include like those blooper reels. I mean, because
this time they should, because
he's doing
crack.
He's doing the same type of stuff. As far as the level of danger, he's doing the same type of shit Jackie Chan was doing, and it's insane. And Brad was joking about it, but God forbid something happened, because I really don't think it's a stretch to see something happening tragically on one of these films if he keeps pushing himself like that. I like Brian mentioned.
How old is he?
Like, he's in the mid 50s. Like
he's about to be 60 something. He's about to be 60 soon.
He's 53 or 54.
He's about to be 60 soon. He's pushing. He's getting up there, but.
He'll be 70 and he'll still be making Mission Impossible movies.
And Jackie Chan was doing stunts, and Jackie Chan is still making movies with stunts, not at the level that he used to, but he's pushing like 70, ain't he?
Yeah, he's like maybe in his mid 60s.
Yeah. Tom Cruise is 55.
Yeah, 55.
God damn.
He's old by Hollywood
His
standards.
birthday is in July.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Scientology body.
I don't know. Like when he takes his shirt off, like his body, like it's not as tight as it used to be.
It's got that Stallone, roided look.
Yeah, it's like the skin is like, all right, we had our time, man.
Jackie Chan is 64 years old.
64, yeah, so he's in his mid 60s.
And he's still doing something.
Sylvester Stallone is 71 years old, and he looks every day of 71 years old.
Stallone looks good.
71, yeah.
Stallone looks good.
I know.
I've got a Stallone story that we can talk off air.
All right. Before, man, Harrison, he's almost pushing 80. He's supposed to be doing another Indiana Jones.
I'm for it.
All right.
Dude, I definitely want Indiana Jones when he's like 90 years old. He's got the eye patch and the beard.
Harrison Ford is 75 years old.
75.
Yes. All for it.
Right.
Jones is gonna fucking, he's gonna keep going, Brian. Don't be doubtful.
We'll see.
As long as it's not like what Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull's fine. I like it. Okay.
So yeah, Mission Impossible. I love, me. I already know I'm a huge fan of Henry Cavill and just what I'm seeing of him in the trailer. Even though they're not giving a bunch away about his character, I like seeing him in the trailer. And Angela Bassett, that whole cast that they got is, as Brian said, is really impressive. But at the end of the day, I truly am really riding high off of that trailer. I have no expectations from the film other than to be entertained, and that trailer looks like it's going to give me that. So that's why it's my number 3. B, your number 2.
My number 2, we talked about this the other day.
Did we?
Oh, man, dude. Sicario, Day of the
Oh, I
Soldado.
thought you were going to say Acrimony. I was going to say that came out
Man,
already.
please.
Before you even, I know you're excited about it. What do you think about changing the title to The Day of Soldado?
I don't know. I don't really like it. They've had a couple of title changes. I do like the fact that they kept Sicario because before it was originally just going to be Soldado.
I prefer that.
Well, I like that they brand it so that people know, but I mean, it's
You
it's
don't
fine.
need, there's no branding to Sicario. It's not like you're going like, oh shit, Sicario 2? What?
Well, some people.
Well, they want people who are familiar with it to know that this is a sequel to
I
that.
think they
so.
should have just gone Soldado.
Yeah, I would have been cool with that because I know it's a sequel to Sicario. But yeah, I mean, we talk about trailers. This trailer just it literally gave me goosebumps. I loved the first film. 2015, this was my second favorite film behind Creed. Absolutely loved the way that Denis was able to really just kind of dive into and explore the drug cartel, the world of the drug cartel between the Mexican borders. And it feels like the director here, Stefano Sollima, is going to do the same thing with this film. Also written by Taylor Sheridan, who also wrote the first film. So I know that there's going to be that same level of intensity and storytelling with this film as well. But what I really loved about that trailer is like even as we dive deeper into this underworld here, it's a more focused and intimate story between Benicio and Josh Brolin's character, and it's really, I like the fact that they're kind of putting them against each other, and you have this girl in the middle of this whole situation. And I've heard some complaints about, with Benicio's character, him being this assassin with the heart of gold, but I like that it feels almost like it's an extension from where we left him in the first film. So it doesn't feel like it's out of his character to really be protecting this young girl.
Did you pick up in the trailer when she says, "I know who you are"? Mm-hmm. Do you hear what she said?
Well, I think that dude was her father. I think he killed her father.
Yeah. I didn't pick that up till like today when I was watching the trailer.
I picked that up. So yeah, I mean, and Benicio just continues to be the center point of this story, and I love how we're just following his character through this journey, and I can't wait.
This is gonna be the summer of Brolin.
Oh yeah,
Thanos, Deadpool,
Cable.
Yeah.
He's gonna have this next 2 months for him. He's gonna be having a lot of fun.
It's a lot of press.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm excited though. I'm so excited for Sicario.
all right.
Josh Brolin, 50 years old. Benicio del Toro, 51.
77.
Yeah,
51 years old. Very
young.
handsome.
that's my dude. All right, Lisa, your number 2.
My number 2 is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yay!
What makes me the most excited about Ant-Man and the Wasp is rewatching Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I feel ready for more of that story. I'm hungry for more of that character. And all of the issues that I had with Ant-Man the first time through have kind of fallen away. Like, one of my issues with Ant-Man was, like, why are Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly kissing by the end of this movie? There was no time for them to fall in love, really. They were super fucking busy. Granted, they're both beautiful people, but
She just got, she loved that she could dominate him in a fight.
and he loved to be dominated. It's kind of oh shit, what was that movie?
Twilight.
No, I'm gonna say
50
Secretary.
50 Shades of Grey.
Shades.
Oh, 50 Shades. Yeah, it's very 50 Shades. 50 Shades of Secretary. So I'm super excited about this movie, and I want to see more of their relationship. I want to see them fall in love properly.
So now you're shipping,
so
shipping them now?
Yeah, totally. They've got to. I think she's gonna be badass.
Yeah.
As the Wasp.
Yeah.
And you've met Evangeline
I
Lilly.
have
Lisa.
met Evangeline Lilly. I
You went
saw
cheek
her.
to cheek with her in that photo.
Yeah, I did. And I was just like, it's a really super cute picture of me. It's really scary taking a picture next to it to Evangeline Lilly. But crap her out, I still look pretty good.
Oh, okay.
But like, what's funny is like she was doing a panel at Nerd HQ for a children's book she had written called something like The Squiggly Winks. Squiggly Winks.
Sure.
But she was really down on acting. She was like, I don't really want to be an actress anymore. I don't want to be thought of as Kate from Lost. I don't want to do big budget movies. I just, I want to do something else with my life.
But I also want to eat.
But she's also now in the Marvel universe. So I don't know. I would love to have another panel with her. So I can be like,
Well, like, don't you think-
remember all of the things you said?
If you were
The Squicker Wonkers. That's what it was called.
Squicker
Squicker Wonkers.
If you were
It rhymes.
down on acting, after the experience of Lost and being so immersed in that world, and you just needed to make a little money every now and again, a Marvel movie is a pretty good franchise to connect yourself to.
Do you know what? I might just do that. That's a great suggestion, Brad.
You're welcome. You
I really
should
wanna
be-
work less hard.
Hold on. Let's cast Lisa in the MCU right now.
Guy in the chair. Guy in the chair. Guy in the chair.
No. I'm thinking you would be
She-Hulk.
Well, I was, Hellcat's pretty good, Lisa.
Hellcat would be awesome.
Hellcat's
She-Hulk would
pretty
be
good.
amazing.
I mean, Squirrel Girl. I think you could rock Squirrel Girl.
I could with a
She-Hulk.
tail.
Yeah, but
like
okay,
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Okay,
I could be a lawyer.
but I mean, yeah, and then they could CG you up into the Hulk size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could
you could
I could
mocap
just
it.
beef up. I could
Just go to the
beef up.
gym.
Yeah.
They're gonna. Have,
I
they're gonna
would
have
have
to
to
mocap
do
you.
more than the elliptical. Because if I can't actively watch House Hunters while I'm doing it, I don't know if I can.
Oh. Well, you'll be working for Marvel, so I'm pretty sure they'll have all those.
Yeah,
nice
don't they
amenities for
hire
you.
someone to move your muscles?
Probably.
Can you see someone just grabbing me from both ends to do my crunches for me?
Whoop.
Crunch, crunch,
Good
crunch.
job.
Don't you
Good
grab
job,
both
Lisa.
ends.
Oh,
okay.
What?
All right. Good pick. Brad, you're number 2.
Oh, dude, it's my turn. What is my number 2? My number 2. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that nobody has picked this yet. Maybe it's people's numbers ones. I don't know, but it's now I'm wondering, like, did it get pushed back even further than August? Shane Black's The Predator.
I did
September.
not
It's in
see it in
September.
the
September. They
list.
pushed it to September.
They pushed it to September.
September 14th.
Oh,
They did-
shit.
they just
What's
did some reshoots.
My number 2 then. Oh, no. I got to come up with a number 2.
Should we come
Because
back to
number
you?
2 was The Predator. Oh,
Here.
shit.
Well,
Why
that's
do they
okay.
keep changing
Well,
all those
that's,
dates?
That's okay. Like,
How far into September is it?
No, September 14th.
look, here's
September
the
14th.
thing, Brad. Here's the thing. Let's talk about the Predator. Number 1, because
Okay,
it's the
'cause I
Predator, and I
have
want to talk
no-
about it.
That's fine. Yeah.
Number 2, if
I'm not
that's your
picking
number
tag.
2, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen if this is your number 2. No one's gonna come get you. You're not gonna get
They
arrested.
aren't.
No, this isn't truth or dare.
Fucking Jason Plow on Twitter. If I say anything, he's going to be on my case.
And then guess what?
You can
It's
pick
over
the
it.
Meg.
No, I'm not picking the Met.
No,
I
he
don't wanna
picked
pick
the
Meg.
Predator.
What
I-
about replicas? You watched that trailer
I
today.
did. I'm not picking replicas. No, okay, fine. The Predator. The Predator. With as many pushing and pulling that 20th Century Fox is doing with their release schedule right now,
Yeah.
it could fall back into August for all I know.
Who knows?
Yeah, so Shane Black's The Predator. Why am I excited about this movie? Because it's Shane Black's The Predator, but also it's being written by Fred Dekker. And the last time Fred Dekker and Shane Black worked together on the Monster Squad.
Yeah.
And the team that made all the monsters in the Monster Squad are making the Predators in The Predator. Yeah.
That's really
Some
sweet,
nice
actually.
openings there.
So the other cool thing is I know somebody who's seen the trailer already and gave me some juicy tidbits about what we might be seeing in The Predator. And I think there's going to be something more than just the usual beastie guy in the suburbs taking on Keegan-Michael Key.
Okay.
I think there's going to be some growing of the mythology of the Predator that I'm really, really excited
So is it really taking place? Because I did just read a report that they were in reshoots, and Keegan-Michael Key was said that the reshoots, they pretty much restructured the whole third act of the film, which was for the better from what they said. It made it a lot stronger. But I remember there were reports about this movie taking place in the suburbs, or was it really going to be back in the jungle?
Well, so the person I talked to saw the trailer some time ago, so it was before the reshoots, and it was very suburbs based. And I think it's still going to have that setting for the majority of it.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I'm up for anything that Shane Black does. I'm not at all worried about reshoots. Hey, the ending didn't work. Shane Black goes, let's retool this.
It worked
Shane
for World
Black's
War
still
Z,
doing
so.
it.
You know, in the suburbs, it's going to be in December, Christmas time.
Yeah,
so that's going to be like snow and shit.
Probably.
And we haven't seen that type of environment, or the Predator in that type of environment.
Right. Yeah. So I'm super stoked for the Predator. Super stoked. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, like, it's just a franchise I love. I love the first film. I love the second film.
Talk about the cast.
Well, I mean, the cast.
Trevante Rose from is it Trevante Rose
Trevante
from
Rose.
Moonlight?
Yeah, Moonlight.
Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah.
Boyd Holbrook. Thomas Jane, your boy.
Yeah,
He doesn't like to wear shoes.
I love and the kid from
Jacob Tremblay.
I like all those people. But you know what's interesting about that cast is there isn't like a Schwarzenegger type, right? No. I mean, there's not even an Adrian Brody type. It'll be curious to see how the soldiers fall apart.
I think Boyd Holbrook is being billed as the lead, though.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
Weird.
I know.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited.
Same.
Obviously.
Same.
Yeah.
So move it back up in August. So this list is still legitimate.
My number 2 is Soldado.
Nice.
Sicario 2. For all the reasons that Brian mentioned, but at the end of the day, I'm sold on the trailer, and of course I'm biased and I'm sold on Benicio del Toro showing up, reprising his role from the first film. But like Brian and like everyone here, I'm a huge fan of the first film, and even though we don't have the same people behind the camera returning, I do like that at the very least we do have the script writer coming back who wrote the first film, so we can have some type of cohesiveness with the previous movie. But I do like what they're doing with the Benicio del Toro character and Josh Brolin's character with the introduction of this child. And again, upon the realization that this is the child or one of the children of the gentleman that Benicio murdered in the first film at the end of the film, that adds an interesting dynamic. With the daughter knowing who he is, knowing why he's doing what he's doing, and why he did what he did as in regards to her family, it just makes for interesting dynamic in how she processes this information or being in the custody of this guy, and what does that do. And of course, you could surmise that ultimately he's going to end up earning her trust, and she's going to become attached to him or something like that. But then again, the movie may not go that way. And but at the very least, I'm interested to see how that dynamic plays out, but also how Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro, how they share their scenes and where their characters end up. And that trailer's amazing. Benicio is just so, he's just so captivating and compelling when he's on screen. I mean, even before he pulls his mask off, when he gets out of that car, I could just tell that's him by his swagger, like how he walks up to that guy. And then that's just that moment when he pulls that mask off and he says adios to that guy. And he's shooting that, he's fanning that trigger with his index finger, rapidly unloading in that dude. I don't know, that's just very powerful. That's a powerful image. And so I don't know, like I'm really looking forward to that movie. I would love if Deakins was returning for cinematography, but he's not. But hopefully, whoever is on board.
Who is shooting it?
That I'm not sure.
Oh, cinematography? I'm not sure. Yeah, I just know Salima is directing it, but I don't know who's shooting.
I have the internet.
Hopefully they lens it as well. Obviously not as well as Deacons, but hopefully they do lens it as well as Deacons. Who knows?
It's I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, but Dariusz Wolski. He shot Prometheus, which is a gorgeous looking movie.
Okay.
He shot he's also shot Covenant, which and All the Money in the World, The Walk, The Martian, Exodus, Gods and Kings.
So he's worked with Ridley Scott on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie's gonna look fine then. It'll look good. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking to see those actors. I'm sad that Emily Blunt's character or just another female character is not returning, because I do a lot of the suspense for me was having her in that environment. And Brian, you talked about like how
he shot Dark City.
That's a great movie. Nice.
And all the Pirates movies. Okay, I'll stop.
Oh, yes. Okay, I got it. Yeah, it's in good hands. And Brian, you talked about how how you liked how Sicario like delved into like the cartel underworld. I really don't think it does. At the very least, it's a very superficial look at it. I mean, because it goes a lot deeper than what's depicted in Sicario. But I like that environment of having these characters, and specifically, I'm going back to Emily Blunt's character in that environment, and her being out of her element, and ultimately at the end of the film, seeing that if she's going to be within her element, then she has to change who she is.
I would go with this series, and maybe this film does, is I would go over the border, right? What is it like to live in Juarez? Like the first Sicario scratches the surface a little bit with the police officer character,
right.
And of course that drive through Juarez,
right?
But talking about cartel, that's where you got to go. You got to go into that hellscape.
Yeah, because I think for me, Sicario, the first one really deals with the bureaucracy of our place in that war over there.
Yeah, the U.S.'s place.
The U.S.'s place, right? And so and this film sort of seems like it's touching on similar themes regarding the U.S.'s involvement in how they're trying to manufacture a war between the cartel and the government there. And so it's still dealing with bureaucracy, which is basically showing like as messed up as the cartel is and the things that they do, how much better is our U.S. government and how they facilitate handling those things, or what it's perceived to be them handling it, but also are they perpetuating it? And so that's what I think the Sicario films look at. But if, like you said, Brett, if they were to just go over into Juarez or to Mexico, wherever, and specifically just look at the things that the cartel does, that'd make for some really compelling, but also some terrifying stories. Because if you look at like just documentaries, at the Vice documentaries on HBO, Cartel Land, if you look at those and you just picture like a narrative around that, like it's really some crazy hardcore shit. So I don't know, but I like the trailer. I love the cast, and I'm looking forward to Sicario 2. Brian, your number one film of the summer that you're most anticipating?
So my number one, it hasn't changed from my most anticipated of the whole year, which is my third most anticipated movie of the year.
Okay.
The Incredibles. Incredibles 2.
Yeah, somebody's on my side.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Brad.
Yeah, damn.
Fuck you, Darren.
Damn. I'm so looking forward to this film. And like you, Brad, 2004, it was definitely one of my favorite movies of that year. It is still my favorite Pixar film. I think, and with you, I also agree that the trailers haven't really excited me until the most recent one that came out. Really started to kind of get me back on board to the feelings I had when I saw the first film. And of course, this is 14 years later. And the fact that this is the sequel that everybody has kind of been pining for, we've been getting Cars 2, Cars 3, Toy Story, Monsters University.
Wait. This is 14...
2004, 2018.
Yeah.
The first Incredibles came out 14 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So someone was born when that movie came out and is a freaking teenager right now.
Yes.
That is nuts.
Yes.
They're like, who are these?
It does not feel like it feels like maybe 5 years
when
ago.
Incredibles
Heroes.
came out, the MCU did not
It
exist.
was no MCU.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So it's interesting in this new super.
That's what I was saying. Like this new.
I don't want you to say it. I want to say it.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But no, it is interesting because when you look at the first Incredibles in 2004, like we were in a different era of superhero films, like with like the Raimi Spider-Mans, the Singers, X-Men. So now
A less good era.
Yeah, well, no wonder Incredibles is easily the best superhero movie.
In that era. So now I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the story now that we live in this world where we have all these different type of superhero films, and then even outside of that, having different genres of superhero films, because it's easy for the Incredibles to kind of fall into that same kind of generic superhero Fantastic Four family story. So I want to see what they're going to do that's going to make this kind of stand out different from a lot of the superhero films that we have now. But I love some of the themes, and of course with Pixar, some of the themes that they always touch on, like in the first film, it's more so about superheroes and their place in the world. If you look at the first act of the first Incredibles, it's almost basically what the MCU was speaking on, with the whole idea of superheroes and the collateral damage and their place in the world, and the autonomy that they have to just kind of go out and do their own thing. I think the Incredibles speaks on that. So I like the gender switching in this trailer. And it's also interesting to me too, because I don't know when these films take place, but the aesthetic of these films has a very 1960s feel to it. And with the gender role, the gender switching, with having Elastigirl out there being the face of the heroes, and having Mr. Incredible kind of be like the Mr. Mom, it kind of feels like it's speaking on that era, like when you were going through like women's civil rights, and especially now speaking on what's been happening with the Me Too movement. So again, Brad Bird I'm sure he wrote this before a lot of this stuff in the media started happening now. But of course, a lot of movies, especially when you come up with ideas, the stuff, it kind of happens in a vacuum, but it definitely speaks on to what's going on now. And movies have a social and political, not necessarily an agenda, but definitely a perspective to it. And I think this movie is going to speak to that. So I don't know, man. Like, I'm super excited for this film. Like I said, The Incredibles is my favorite Pixar, and I've been looking forward to this for so long.
14 years.
Yeah. No wonder I ain't got that excited about it.
I know,
and
I think that's part of the bad part on Pixar, waiting that long. Like, I just don't know why they waited, because this was the one movie that was ripe for a sequel. I mean, of course, we got the Toy Stories, the Monsters University. Did we really need those?
No.
Like this is what people have been waiting for.
The Toy Story sequels are good.
Toy Story is great, but Cars. I mean, I get Cars for the younger audience, but
like Finding Dory was fine. Monsters University is fine.
This is what people have been waiting for. So,
all right.
Well, I hope it's not fine.
Damn, it'll be great.
I hope it's great.
In the meantime, Lisa, your number one. Let me guess.
Oh, you're not gonna guess.
Is Obscure?
No. Oh, well, I guess, yes.
There's no.
Ocean's 8.
Olive Dog. You already said Ant-Man and the Wasp. I have no idea.
It's not a blockbuster.
It's not a blockbuster.
Yeah,
Tully?
No. I like, there are so many movies about like the how hard it is being a parent, and I am just not interested in that genre of film.
Yeah.
Because I don't give any shits about that.
Oh, okay.
Very selfish, childless millennial, child free. My number one really speaks to my heart, like as a person, and it's very personal for me. But my number one is "Won't You Be My Neighbor?"
Oh yes.
The Mr. Rogers documentary. I was raised on public television. Yep. I was only allowed to watch channels 32, 24, and 36 during the week. And I watched a lot of Mr. Rogers. And what I think, like, when I was a child, I didn't necessarily appreciate this particular side of Mr. Rogers, but what I think is so valuable now, and we need to find more places to do this in television for kids, but his aim by making a public television show for kids was to make kids feel valued and loved, to create a place where kids could talk about their feelings. Mm-hmm. He would tell children that he cared about them very much, and that it's okay to be sad, and when you're angry, it's fine. It's okay to be angry. And I think the fact that he saw value in creating emotional maturity was just like he just saw this need, and he just fulfilled it. And on and off the screen, he was an advocate for empowering children to express themselves and express their needs in a mature way. And there are messages from Fred Rogers that I go back to all the time as an adult. One of my favorite little quotes is, if it's mentionable, it's manageable. If you can talk about your problems, you can solve your problems. And while I was in Michigan visiting my sister, I watched a lot of Daniel Tiger. So Daniel Tiger is an offshoot of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And at first I was like offended that Daniel Tiger is getting his own fucking show, because he just used to be like just a whiny cat in a tree, you know, and he would say meow meow all the time, and he was always sad about something. He was a very moody little cat in a tree, and but he's carrying on that legacy of giving advice to 4-year-olds of, okay, when you feel frustrated, you it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to feel sad sometimes, because little by little you'll feel better. Or if you have to go potty, stop and go right away. That's all valuable shit to 4-year-olds. So I am fascinated, and he also tried to touch on subjects that were hard, and it was very important to him that he have people of color on the show, that he represented different types of culture. So I just think that he's like just one of those people where it's just like the phrase "heart in the right place" just fits perfectly. He just had his heart in the right place, and he just created his art, and it was like just made with love. And I want to know more about his story, and I want to be able to. I'm so excited that this like unassuming dude in a cardigan, who you get to a certain age and it's really dorky to be into Mr. Rogers, and I'm excited to see him get celebrated in this way.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because speaking to your point, when I did my video on YouTube watching the trailer. I've gotten so many comments like that reaction I did on YouTube has gotten over 5,000 views.
That's awesome.
And it has I have so many comments, and I think that speaks to the impact that he's had on that generation of people. Because I got comments from people who just talk about like, I grew up with Mr. Rogers, I love him so much, like he meant so much to me during this period of my life. And I think also speaking to that as well, is like he listened to children. I think we live now in such an age where parents and older people discount children's feelings to the point where it's like they don't pay attention to the emotions that kids have. And
I think that kids feel this tremendous social pressure to act older and act older and act older. Yeah. And I think that like there are certain stages of emotional maturity that you just can't rush. And you can't tell a kid, suck it up, going to school is your job, you're not allowed to feel this way, or you're not allowed to act out in this way. I think that Mr. Rogers' approach was an approach of gentleness and kindness. Yeah. And I think that, with, kids shows being so super technicolor and loud and shouty, even in the 80s, I was extraordinarily sensitive to people being like, like Pee Wee Herman, I found terrifying. Zoobly Zoo, immediate tears and fear. Like, it was just a place of gentleness and kindness, and for someone to just, look through the camera and say,
inviting, very inviting. So, I mean, it was, that trailer almost brought me to tears. I was like, man, I was not expecting that.
I don't know. He's such a beautiful dude.
He is.
Just a really, really sweet guy. So
And when does that come out?
that comes out
June 8th.
June 8th.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a summer release.
Yeah. So hopefully it's going to be playing somewhere near us.
I hope
Oh,
so.
definitely.
Yeah, we'll probably
Like Angelica or E Street,
Yeah.
we'll be getting it for sure.
I'm
All
super
right.
stoked.
If worst case, Andy will get it out in Winchester.
That is a
That
fact.
seems like his bag. It's good pick, Lisa. All
Thank
right,
you.
B.
We know. I said it before that the show started. The show.
Oh, that's right. Oh, he did. He hasn't said it.
He
Okay,
hasn't
B.
said it yet.
Your number one pick for summer of 2018.
Mission Impossible Fallout.
Bang, bang, with the victim, bang, bang, with the sickness, bang, bang, with the victim. Sorry.
What more can I add to this conversation that you guys haven't already touched upon? Rogue Nation is not only my favorite Mission Impossible film, it's one of my favorite action films of the last 10 years, period. The way McQuarrie structures those scenes over the course of that film is not just riveting, but surprising, right? You know, you see that poster of Rogue Nation and it's Tom Cruise hanging off the side of that plane. You're like, oh my God, there's the epic climax or there's the midpoint action scene. No, that's your first 5 minutes.
It's the opening.
And then that scene that begins with the theft, the underwater theft of whatever MacGuffin he's getting in that movie, and how that escalates to the car chase, which escalates to the motorcycle chase. That is a phenomenal action sequence. And then for the climax of the movie, he takes it back.
Yeah, dials it back.
And it's just on the streets. And it's,
It's more
it's
of like a
fisticuffs.
mind,
And there's there's the mind game of it, right?
So good.
I love Rogue Nation, and I love what Christopher McQuarrie brought to that movie, and the casting also. Rebecca Ferguson's phenomenal. I'm so excited to see what they do with her character, bringing her back. I'm excited to see what happens with Sean Harris's Maniac. He is such an interesting actor and such an unhinged personality. Like I find him very scary. And Henry Cavill, his mustache, Angela Bassett, oh my God, Baldwin's back, Simon Pegg's back. They're bringing Michelle Monaghan back. Like there's a character that there was never any reason to bring her back once they wrote her off at the beginning of Ghost Protocol and had her little sneak scene. Their marriage didn't work out. Ethan Hunt, Thrill of the Hunt, that's his thing. But the show that there's an emotional core going from that marriage that still has an impact on Hunt all the way into Fallout is really interesting, and I'm excited to see how they deal with that. Awesome. And to your point, Brian, this idea. Originally, I was disappointed that they didn't find another director for the next installment. But now you're thinking, well, maybe Fallout is really just Rogue Nation Part 2. And it's going to be this epic in the middle of the Mission Impossible franchise. Because guess what? This franchise is not ending anytime soon.
It's not slowing down. It's not. It's just. It feels like it's just getting started.
It's 20 years old, Brian.
I know.
It's 6 years older than The Incredibles. That's freaking nuts.
And I love every entry in the franchise, with the exception of 2. John Woo, why? But yeah, Rogue Nation's my favorite, and who knows? Maybe Fallout will be my favorite.
Christopher McQuarrie, after Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie is the best thing to happen to this franchise.
Yeah.
I think. We talked about earlier. You mentioned Brian, mindless summer blockbuster fun or whatever. Now when we reviewed Rogue Nation and when we talked about it before, I mentioned that one of the benefits of having him on this picture, and you can see it in the dialogue, the characters, the construction of the action set pieces, is he is an intelligent filmmaker, and that seeps into even the action.
And he's a nerdy filmmaker.
He is, and then so you get away from the mindless action, and you get good action with thought behind it. And the fact that Rogue Nation ends with a battle of the wits instead of a huge action set piece, the fact that he inverts it and puts the big thing at the very beginning and then this small intimate battle at the end, like that's a huge refreshing take on a summer blockbuster action movie. And it kind of flies in the face of that argument that it's just a dumb action movie.
Yeah.
You can just turn your brain off. Well, you don't have to do that. You can, if you have a filmmaker who's that hip to it, he can give you that type of blockbuster entertainment, but also give you some intelligent characters and intelligent narrative structure, and to make an overall more compelling package, I think. And I'm super excited for Rogue Nation. I'm sorry, Fallout. But leading up to Fallout, I'm going to go back and rewatch all of the Mission Impossible films.
The moment Avengers: Infinity War is over, push and play.
If the universe still exists, if everything has not ceased to exist, and my geek life can continue, then that's the plan.
If Thanos didn't snap his fingers on you,
yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, great pick.
Poor Captain America.
So
dead.
Man, I don't want to get into this. Okay. So like Brad, in like great minds think alike. But my number one pick is not Mission Impossible Fallout. But my number one pick, like Brad, has already been mentioned on this episode, and it is Upgrade.
Nice.
We talked about horror and this new age of horror with Babadook and Witch and Hereditary. Most recently, that's supposed to be coming out, and Brad and you talking about Upgrade and mentioning Lee Wanell's his resume and all the films that he has been involved with up until this point. And again, going into this trailer blind, not knowing anything about it, not knowing which genre, subgenre, or whatever, I was thoroughly surprised to see that even though there are some horror elements to it, it leans more into the science fiction. But even in that regard, with the type of horror that we're getting today, as far as to continue to provide a variety of types. You can have your goofy truth or dare. You can have your Happy Death Day. You can have our really atmospheric and moody Hereditary, and our social commentary and Get Out. But then we can have this sci-fi, what feels like it should be like a straight to VOD sci-fi channel schlocky thing, but the quality and the care that Lee Wanell puts into, at the very least, the filming of this movie really impressed me, because granted, I didn't know that he directed Insidious 3, but there's nothing there style-wise that makes me even think that there's a name behind it. It could have been just, there was nothing that stood out. But seeing Upgrade and then knowing his pedigree and what the films that he had involvement with before, it feels like, okay, he's made some definitive and specific style choices that hopefully will be connected to him in the future if he does make films. Because, outside of the premise, the science fiction premise and the setup, but just some of the action and the violence in it, kind of speak to his experience working on the Saw franchise, because the Insidious films aren't really gory. Those are more like jump scare machines. But like the graphicness of the Saw franchise, we see some of that in Upgrade and some of the kills. But then you have some cool action bits that I found surprising too. There's a guy who had the Upgrade with the freaking gun palm. That shit was so dope. But then also our low rent Tom Hardy, what's his name?
Logan Marshall Green.
Logan Marshall, yeah, that guy. Did the scene, what really sold me on it, that made me say, okay, this is a step above VOD sci-fi, is the character stuff, in his acting and performance. So here's that moment when he activates, Sam activates the suit. He pops up. You have that really cool bit of camera movement. But then he's in the kitchen with that guy.
He's got a knife.
And then he's fighting the guy. Physically, his body from the neck down is looking like it's in a combative mode. And he's fighting the guy. He's defending himself against him. But in the face, you have the face of a man who's in the passenger seat or in the back seat of a car that he has no control over. And I thought that was brilliant.
There's some it's got serious slapstick roots that I think have the potential of being really mind-blowingly hilarious and cool,
but also sad and terrifying.
Yeah. And I like the duality of that, because Lisa's right, because it could be funny, it could play funny, because it was funny. So Brian's trailer reaction, he's watching it, and right at that moment when he loses control and the body starts acting, and he goes, "What the?" Right before that happens, Brian says, "What the fuck?" And so the guy has the same reaction. So I think the audience can pick up on the slapstickness of it, but also you could feel something for that guy to be going through this circumstance, and there are moments where he doesn't have control over. But I also like that it's alluded to that he's going to embrace that. And what does that mean? You having two separate entities inhabit the same host body. So the idea and the opportunity for character work within one individual is something that intrigues me as well, as next to the gory, headshots and the blood explosions and stuff like that. So for me, it's just a well-rounded package. I can get some dark humor, I can get some action that looks unique, and I can get some horror in a place where I wasn't expecting it. So if this is body horror or whatever, cool. So I don't know. That was a sucker punch of a trailer, a movie that I had no idea that existed. But then when I see it, it's showing me things that together I've never seen all these different components in one particular piece done in this fashion. So I'm super intrigued and really excited. So yeah, that's my number one most anticipated film of the summer. Yeah. And as of right now, outside of Infinity War, that's my most anticipated film of the year. Like I want to see that film more than any other, like right now. But yeah, so that's going to do it for our fistful of summer anticipation.
So with rather than doing like a best of quarter, the best of the year so far, why don't we just say we'll do that at the halfway mark sometime in June? We'll do
best of the year so far, first 6 months. So July 1st or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Right before Comic-Con.
Before we wrap up, you got an honorable mention for your list, bro?
Oh yeah. Outside of my top 5, I just had a list. I'll just run them down. Upgrade was on there. Skyscraper, Tully. Sorry, Lisa. I like Jason Reitman.
You can care about the struggle of moms.
Of struggling moms.
It just seems vomity to me.
Yeah. Tully, Deadpool 2, Uncle Drew, as a basketball fan, I'm looking forward to. And a movie we haven't seen a trailer for, but I'm excited about is a movie called The Happy Time Murders.
Right, with Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, it's with Brian Henson directing it. It's almost like a Roger Rabbit, but it's R-rated.
Oh. It's like a legit with Henson movie.
Yeah, with Muppets. Yeah, or puppets. I don't think it's.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, and
I think you talked about that on this podcast.
I think I have.
But it's supposed to be R-rated, so just to see puppets cursing and getting shot and murdered and.
Well, it's
bastard.
Melissa McCarthy is like a detective.
And she's investigating a murder of one of the felt puppet characters that got killed on one of the TV shows from a Happy Time Murder. Happy Time, from a show called Happy Time or something like that. But it looks like it's going to be, it has the potential to be hilarious, and I'm just waiting to see a trailer from it. But
all right, Lisa, your honorable mentions.
Well, flipping through my notes, there's another Nick Hornby book that is being made into a movie, Juliet Naked, and Chris O'Dowd's going to be in it. I love Chris O'Dowd. Yeah. Also, Hotel Artemis. Have you heard about this? There's no trailer for it yet, but it's got Jodie Foster and Dave Bautista.
What? Never heard of it.
Let me look it up.
Hotel Artemis.
Yes. Sophia Boutella as well. And the plot is complete. There's no plot is released. All it says is that it's a futuristic thriller. And I think that it was the winner of those Blacklist scripts.
Okay.
So that's intriguing.
Hotel Artemis.
Okay. And I'm super looking forward to Upgrade. If you couldn't tell, that was my number 6.
Yes.
Also, Terminal. Has anybody talked about Terminal?
No, not yet.
I have not watched that trailer yet.
Simon Pegg.
He's in it?
Yeah, Simon Pegg's in it. Mike Myers is in it. It's supposed to be a noir. It looks super stylized.
Okay.
It could be good. It could be bad. You know, movies, how they are.
All right.
So,
Brad, what are your unmentionables?
I mean, I'm okay with that phrasing. Yeah. I'm with Brian on Solo. I am now really looking forward to seeing Solo. But really, the only other movie that almost made my list, and I guess now will make my list because The Predator comes out in the fall. That would be, we just did our review cast of Rampage. I'm looking forward to Skyscraper.
Damn.
You know, he's another special forces soldier. He's lost his leg.
Yeah.
He's got a little mechanical leg. Yeah. Terrorists go die hard on this building, the Pearl. Yeah. And he's got to rescue his family. And who's it? Nev Campbell. Nev Campbell's his wife. Yeah. I really wish it was Carla Gugino again from San Andreas.
That'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And if this was just a sequel to that. Yeah. But that's how I'm going to take it. So okay. You know, The Rock doing The Rock stuff.
Yeah. It could be fun. It could be fun.
It could also suck.
Okay. My honorable mentions are, of course, The Meg, film that I was been looking forward to like for over a year now, and also Ant-Man and Wasp. That one flip flopped with another one of my picks, so that one just barely didn't make it. But I'm of course looking forward to that one. I guess maybe I didn't put that one on my list because I don't know what kind of headspace I'm going to be in after Avengers: Infinity War, so I might need treatment. I think it'll be a good palate cleanser for whatever tear-inducing things lie awaiting for us in a few weeks. But yeah, I'm really looking for all the reasons that everyone mentioned. Plus, I'm just looking to have some different types of stories come out of the MCU. So not necessarily world-ending stakes or universe-ending stakes or reality-ending stakes, but maybe something more. Hopefully, Ant-Man is a little more. It stays in close relation to the first film, and that's a more intimate type of story. But we'll see. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Hit us up on social media at ItModcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and let us know what your top 5 most anticipated films of the summer of 2018 are. Brian can be found at the Turtle Dork on Twitter, the Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. Wife Dork is at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and she's also at Bake Dork on Twitter. And Brad is at Mouth Dork on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, and Untapped. And I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, on all social medias and stuff. That's going to do it for us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. What comes out today? Oh, Super Troopers.
Yeah, doesn't Traffic come out today?
Oh, yeah, Traffic.
Too?
Yeah.
Traffic. So I've seen that already.
Yeah?
And I liked it.
What?
It's not great.
Okay.
But I today I actually interviewed the director, Dion Taylor, who did he did Supremacy and Meet the Blacks. And it's Paula Patton doing kind of a kick-ass role that we have that I wanted to see after Ghost Protocol and we didn't get.
Okay.
It's about It's about slave trafficking.
Okay.
And you go into the gas station, you go to get your Mountain Dew, and you enter a world of
sex trafficking.
Sex trafficking. It's gorgeous. It's shot by Dante Spinotti, who did Heat, and actually did like a bunch of Michael Mann movies. He shot L.A. Confidential.
Really?
So it's got a cool look to it. Paula Patton is excellent in the film.
Omar Epps.
Omar Epps is in the movie.
Laz Alonso.
Yeah, and he's funny. He's a scumbag, but funny. Yeah. I don't know. It's
worth checking out.
I would recommend it.
Okay.
For me, it's a 3-star film, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting anything from it, and it really surprised me. And it's a gorgeous looking movie.
Okay.
You know who? Because I feel the same way about Paula Patton.
Yeah.
She needs to be in more stuff. She would be a badass She-Hulk.
She would be a badass
She would be a badass She-Hulk.
I can't believe I just got uncast as She-Hulk.
No. I said she would be if I wasn't casting Lisa. So when her contract runs out and she's like, you know what? I want to take on some other types of roles. I really don't have the schedule for it, so I'm going to bow in this one, Infinity War Part 3. So we don't have to recast. Then we would get Paula Patton.
She's going to have to rip that role from my
I was going to say, she's got
cold,
some big shoes.
dead green hands.
So, but yeah, she's great. All right, so yeah, check that out, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Watch some more movies.
Yeah.
And until next time.